ReZero Episode 2 is here, and with it, the most controversial cut by far, as our party braves the Augria Sand Dunes. As usual, we will delve into all the cut content at the end of the video, so for now, let's talk about the episode. We get to see the new fits of the Pleiades party, and by god does Subaru look so much better, it's not even funny. His desert fit is actually so fire, and the anime original inclusion of his glove is also really cool. For all those who have never read the novel, Subaru does not have a glove in the novel because the illustrator literally never draws his cursed hand ever again. The anime can't really be doing things like that, so they give him a glove, and it's awesome. It's a big step, especially for Subaru, who had been clinging to the clothes of his original world, but now he is fully immersed as the Natsuki Subaru of the ReZero world. There is a lot to be said about Subaru's outfit, but that will come much later. We learn that the round trip total of going to the Pleiades Watchtower and back will be about 2 months, so basically since Arc 5 started, these guys have not gotten much rest, and that certainly won't change. 21 days pass, and Subaru and Emilia pull up to a small desert town on the outskirts of the sand dunes. We get the scene from the Season 4 announcement trailer, and we hear about the dangers of the sand dunes. Sand time, something that occurs 3 times a day, once in the morning, once in the evening, and once at night, that will completely obstruct one's view. We also hear about the sage killing people, and the witch beast killing people, and the miasma, which is polluted mana, also killing people. Basically, everything in this desert wants to kill you, but our party doesn't really have a reason to let that stop them. Before they leave, the bartender also stops them to let them know that for the past year or so, people have started to see a white bird flying around the dunes and toward the watchtower. A bird in a place like the sand dunes is not ordinary, and the timeline of its appearance may or may not line up with Subaru arriving in this world, since it's, from a year or so ago. Something to think about. If you have any theories, let me know. We get a great montage of the party traveling to the dunes, and Anastasia points out that no matter how much they travel, the tower does not come closer. She speculates that the tower and the dunes are connected, but not connected, and something is warping space so as to prevent them from approaching. Specifically, the sand time that we heard about twists space, and means that they make no progress, but potentially, there may be cracks in the sand time that would allow one passage. Ram is the one who could break the deadlock using her clairvoyance, and using it, they can see what the demon beasts in the dunes can see. Ram and Meili work together, but even with that, they are unable to find a crack in the space-time. Anna remarks that it will come down purely to luck, but Subaru refuses to allow something as vague as luck to sway it, which is when they see it. The aforementioned bird soaring to the tower. Subaru guides Ram to use her clairvoyance, and once she gets the connection, they jump into action. Pushing forward, they slip through a crack, and the sandstorm could no longer be heard. Now in front of them were multiple fields of flowers. Courtesan bears litter the view in front of them. Witch beasts that disguise themselves as flowers. 3-yard-tall bears stand up as they awake, and Meili urges everyone to not move as she does her best to maneuver the bears until Joseph screams in fear. Emilia and Julius fight off the bears while Betty and Subaru fire off Mignons, and Meili summons a gigantic worm to crush them. Something felt off though. Somewhere in the middle of the town. No pain, no shock, no fear. For Natsuki Subaru, at least one of those was always present when experiencing death. Not this time. Death came instantly, so quickly that he couldn't even get his bearings. He quickly realized how little time he has, however, as Joseph screams yet again. In cut narration, Subaru thinks about how this was the first time that Subaru had ever experienced a reset that was a total waste. No information gathered, and right back to seconds before he died. And thus the first death of Arc 6 occurs. Subaru says they can't go any further. Ram wants to know why, but obviously Subaru can't say, and Emilia just says to trust him. Another piercing light fires, with the sandworm taking it, causing a gigantic shockwave that separates Subaru, Bayako, and Beatrice from the rest of the group. In more cut narration, Subaru beats himself up over ending up here. He thinks that this is his mistake, his fault, his failure. He didn't get enough value out of the last loop, and this is the result. Quote, "I thought I had learned to do more, that I could do more things now, that I was a little better than before." End quote. Before he can scold himself more, another white light is fired. Beatrice is killed and Subaru is pierced. Beatrice cries, begging for him not to die, before another white light is fired, killing her and dissipating her into mana. And in Subaru's last moments, another white light. That loop contains the big cut I was talking about, but on respawn, Subaru recollects himself. He has to focus. He tells Bayako that he loves her, and uses invisible providence to calm down Joseph, thinking back to how Julius's touch earlier calmed him down. Narrowly avoiding death, the backlash of using invisible providence was noticeably less this time, and Subaru decides to fall back from this area. Subaru tells the party about the light, and Ram asks how it seemed to him. He said that it looked dangerous, and that he has no proof, just his gut instinct, which is surprisingly enough to convince everyone. It goes to show you how much trust people put in Subaru because of the power he has that they don't know about. His gut instincts usually just turn out to be correct. Ram uses her clairvoyance again, looking right through the eyes of the sage, who is laser focused on Subaru as another white light is fired. Emilia and Julius save Subaru, noticing that a needle sticks out of the sand before it begins to crumble. Another one is fired, and the party works together to stop it. QEMT. Subaru and Beako have developed magic spells. EMM was shown against Regulus last season. This one acts as absolute magic nullification, and it stops the needle in its tracks before the world begins to collapse because of EMT's interference with the warp space. The party falls into a hole, and the sage Shala states two ominous words: "Found you." Not much to analyze this episode, but there is some pretty shocking stuff in it. Subaru's head exploding and Subaru's death with Betty being particularly strong scenes. What did you think of the episode? Was it peak? Was it ass? Let me know in the comments below, and let's get into the review of Season 4, Episode 2. Now, when I first heard about the cut content between Subaru and Betty, I was really prepared for the worst. I was not at all excited to see how they executed the scene, so when I watched the episode, I was surprised in literally every aspect. Not just the scene, but the whole episode. It's all good. I mentioned in the last episode video that they let moments breathe, and Episode 2 is a fantastic follow-up to that as well. You're allowed to take in the moment, music doesn't need to be playing, dialogue doesn't need to be quickly cut together, sound effects don't need to be playing, and the probably controversial Subaru and Betty death is a prime example of the restraint that they show that they wouldn't have in Season 3. The camera not moving or changing angles repeatedly and keeping it zoomed out as they both get obliterated is super good. It makes this event feel fleeting, inconsequential, like there was really nothing they could do in the face of such overwhelming power. It's not worth changing camera angles because it's such a rapid, instantaneous, and brutal death. We don't have anything playing besides Betty's cries. Nobody is screaming in agony. There's no sad music. It's a cruel and unfair death that nobody could react to in time, even the camera. It's beast mode. The montage was good, the clairvoyance was good, some of the shots as they run through the flower fields are great. Episode 2, genuinely, as an adaptation, at least in my opinion, is better than a majority of Season 3, even with the cut that we still haven't mentioned, which we'll get to in a second. I liked the episode a lot, it was good. We also got the opening in this episode, and I mean it sincerely from the bottom of my heart when I say that this is one of my favorite openings I have ever seen. It is fucking incredible. I don't think the song really fits for the arc it's used for, but do I really care? No, it's that good. The best visuals ReZero has ever seen, with incredible camera work, composition, lighting, direction. It's all good all the way down. And I mean, if we take the song out of context of the arc, it's a fucking banger. There are so many little Easter eggs wedged into this opening that, when you come back in future episodes, you'll be like, oh, that's what it was referring to, and stuff like that. And there's even little Easter eggs about, just for novel readers to know about. Its presentation is phenomenal. I swear this isn't an April Fool's joke, because I'm sure a lot of you aren't used to me praising something about the anime this much, but seriously, the OP for Season 4 is absolutely stellar. When it first came out, I was watching it over and over and over again. It felt unbelievable that ReZero of all series got an OP like this. It's a 10 out of 10. Our first cut of the episode is largely inconsequential, but good to know. The wheelchair that Rem is in was actually built by Subaru. This will come in handy way later. Second is a bunch of discussion between Subaru and Julius. Firstly, we get a bit more exposition about Julius. Instead of Roswell coming out and calling for Emilia and then cutting, in the novels we get a lot more content. He came by to let them know about Ram and her ailments, and that she needs her mana drains since, she doesn't have a horn. Kinda like how Subaru needs his drained or he'll explode. Initially, Roswell doesn't ask Emilia but Julius for help since he's a spirit knight. He says he would love to help, but he's incapable. After losing his name, his spirits no longer recognize him despite recognizing that the contract still exists. They stay by his side because of that connection, but Julius is effectively nerfed, which is when Emilia volunteers to help Ram. While on the road, Subaru remarks how safe the roads of Lagunica are. Julius says that it's because of the maintenance and safety of the roads playing a crucial part of keeping peace in the country. Compared to other countries, Lagunica has less bandit and witch beast attacks. Gasteco struggles to maintain its roads as it's, covered in perpetual snow. Valakia and Kararagi are home to many races, leading to a wide variety of customs and culture, so they don't have unified ways of handling the roads or anything like that. Subaru asks Julius more about his spirits and asks why he can't just reforge contracts with them. Julius tells him it isn't so easy to form contracts like Emilia does. He needs to know his spirits for years and equates it to asking Subaru to just up and replace Beako, something Subaru obviously cannot fathom. Much like in the anime, Julius expands on his strength being diminished, but in the novels, Subaru calls him too modest, and he equates him to Reinhard. Julius does not disagree about his assessment of Reinhard, and Subaru talks about how it must have been tough as hell to be the Swordsman at age 5, the responsibility of the nation and maybe even the world at times resting on the shoulders of a kindergartner. A small cut that had good stuff for Subaru and Ram's relationship was that we saw pretty clearly how much the toll of Ram's condition was weighing on her, as she was a bit more meek than usual and clearly exhausted. The group tries to reassure her that it's okay, and Ram turns to Subaru, asking him to please not leave her behind even in the state that she's in. He, however, assures her that he would never do something like that before they set off once again. Now we get into the most controversial cut of the season so far. I mean, I know there's only 2 episodes, but, you know, this is a pretty big one for a lot of people. Betty and Subaru. This cut takes place during the second death when Betty is crying over Subaru's mangled body. As Betty cries, Subaru has some inner monologue where he thinks about how pretty Betty is but feels tormented by her tears. He thinks that he cannot make her cry, and he wanted to wipe her tears, however, he was completely incapable of moving his arms, so he uses his only option, purely by instinct. He unleashes Invisible Providence, and uses it to wipe away Betty's tears, before she gets obliterated by the white light that scatters her into the atmosphere. This is a fan-favorite scene. Of course, people on Twitter are now calling it unnecessary. It's one of the sweetest, most endearing moments between Subaru and Betty in the entire series. Him once again utilizing the power of Invisible Providence not to hurt someone but to wipe the tears off of Bayako's cheeks is so fucking good, and it is a tragedy that it is gone. However, I do think that the second death still works without it. I've spoken about this before, but what made Season 1 work so well is that while they cut an absolute shit ton, they doubled down on the remaining content. And that is how the second death feels for me. They had a vision and they stuck to it. The Invisible Providence cut is soul-crushing, but I somehow can't be mad, because the way the death was executed was still an enjoyable watch. If you hate the cut, I'm really not going to blame you, but personally, I think the scene still works, and with how they handled it, I still think Episode 2 is a good episode. Let me know what you think about the cut in the comments below if you're still watching. That will do it for our Episode 2 video. There unfortunately wasn't too much to talk about in terms of analysis or anything, but it's still a good episode. And it really puts us into some crazy territory. Episode 3 should be a big one, so you definitely will not want to miss not just the episode, but the video for the episode as well. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe for more. You can also check the description down below to become a member, which gives you benefits like early videos, membership badges, and cool custom emotes. You can join the Discord where we talk about ReZero, Kagurabachi, Jujutsu Kaisen, and all kind of stuff. Additionally, you can go to the channel store and pick up some awesome stickers made by our channel artist, so you can carry the power of Graphia with you on your water bottle. That's about it though. Thank you for watching. See ya.